Closed captioning of this program is brought to you in part by McCann Professional Dog Trainers. My dog is a good dog because my dog goes to McCann's. McCannDogs.com.
Here in our training facility, we've helped more than 100,000 dog owners to overcome the same dog training challenges that you have. But tonight, we do this show for you. We want you to get involved, to ask your questions, and most importantly, we want to have some fun. So let's hop on board the training train. It's time to head on over to the train station. When I got to McCann Dogs, I had a wild and crazy mutt of a thing. It was just a real challenge. And had I known these 9 rules for training, my experience with my dog...
You wouldn't have met me.
I wouldn't have met her. It's true. That's where we're going with this. But my experience would have been totally different. And what I love about the content of tonight's show is that whether you're about to be a puppy owner, which I know a lot of you guys are, we get lots of comments and really nice messages from those of you who are about to get a puppy or about to get a dog. We also get messages from you guys who are puppy owners, who are making your way downtown, walking around. You're making your way through the puppy training process. I'll tell you. Maybe you've got a rehome dog, or you've just decided that, you know, now that my dog is a year and a half, big and strong, I need to start doing some training.
I wish I would have trained it.
Absolutely. And that was my experience. But these 9 rules, regardless of the age of your dog, if you're looking to make some changes and make better choices for your dog and have your dog make better choices, this is a show for you. I'm excited for tonight's show because you can take these rules and make some small tweaks to all of your training, all of the things that you do with your dog. So in tonight's show, we're going to change your puppy training with these 9 rules. I'm Ken Steep.
I'm Kel McCann.
Welcome back to McCann Dogs. I really like the shows where we can kind of take a deeper dive into understanding dog behavior, dog training, puppy training. That kind of stuff is really important, and especially when it comes to the little things that have nothing to do with training. Like that's where I think that's one of the biggest that's the biggest impact you're going to have in your dog's life. Is the stuff around the dog training, what you do in between. We talk about this a lot. If you've seen our series with Euchre, the Border Collie puppy who we brought home at 8 weeks, you'll recognize that, man, they're doing a lot of stuff. Oh, she's an adorable dog. They're doing a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with training. And this is the stuff that will change your experience. This is what I learned. This is also what we get to see every week. We help nearly 1,500 dog owners every single week from in our in-house training facility in person, but also from all over the world. And when we talk about some of these things, a lot of people, you see a light bulb moment, and like that's really exciting because I love those moments when you're in learning, when you're like, oh, that makes sense, and it's so easy. Why don't I start doing it?
I think it's really important that you said earlier that what we're talking about tonight is really, really important for those of you who have puppies, because what they learn first, they learn best. But we have a lot of people say to us, well, what do I do if my dog's 18 months old? What do I do if my dog's 3 years old? Is it too late? Or, you guys only have content for puppies. So
I love this point.
It's not really about the age of the dog. Try not to get too hung up on that. It's about the experience of the dog and sort of what they know and what they don't know. So if you do have a dog that's older and maybe you've missed the puppy training boat, I'll be honest, it's going to be a little harder for you, but it absolutely is not a lost cause. You have to just go back and build some more solid foundation, which is exactly what we're going to talk about tonight. But try not to be too worried if you don't have a young puppy. If you have a dog that's a bit older, all of this stuff is still going to apply to you.
Maybe you've arrived here in this live stream and you're like, who on earth are these two? because I've seen McCann videos before, but it's had
Who are
Instructor
we?
Carol or Instructor Shannon or Instructor Steve. Well,
I haven't been in video in a while.
you haven't
actually.
been in a video, I know.
Hiatus.
For those of you, this is the train station where we take a deep dive into your dog and puppy training. This live stream tonight will have the most toots you've seen on stream since Timothy's train tutory live stream. And if you caught that, man, there are a lot of toots. It's going to be hard to keep up. But this toot
Oh boy.
means that we're going to hop on the training
We got
train.
complaints last time that there wasn't enough
I know,
tooting in the
I know.
last
That's
show.
why
so
I
you're
led
gonna-
with a toot.
Yeah. We'll try to make up for it.
We're professional dog trainers at McCann Dogs.
You'd never know.
And every week at McCann Dogs, we help people who are just like you to overcome their dog training challenges. And in fact, in our training facility, we've helped more than 100,000 dog owners with the same kinds of problems that you have. So we come from a place of experience. We can talk a little bit about some. Everyone says like, you've probably never seen or heard this before. And believe me, the one thing I've learned as a dog trainer is that so many people have the same kinds of problems.
Yes.
They're just packaged a little differently.
Yep.
Every single dog is different. They're a little bit different. So sometimes you have to tweak.
We see it all over the world too.
Absolutely.
We have
Absolutely.
students from like 51 different countries,
Yeah.
and puppies in Germany do the same things in Japan as they do in
Greece or
USA.
wherever.
It doesn't really
Yeah.
matter. It's all the same.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I see some people in the chat that you guys need to know about. Now, if you see someone with their name in blue, it's likely one of our instructors. So you see instructor Alexis, instructor Shandy. I see instructor Robbie in there as well. And you'll also notice
It's the A team tonight.
it is. You'll notice another name, Dan the Moderator Man. We call him Lots of Links Luton, and Dan's been with us for some time. And we launched a satellite into orbit. It was difficult, but I made it happen.
He did it with his own bare hands.
That's right. And it was like a shot put experiment.
Yeah.
And what we did is we launched the satellite so that we can check in with Dan. We can go right into the moderation station and see what Dan is up to. And actually, the last few weeks, you guys are lucky. The last few weeks, Dan has like dropped a hot discount on something. And
Yep.
I'm excited to find out what maybe doesn't. And I feel bad. Dan, I apologize if we're setting you up.
Yeah, this can be
And
a
there's
major
no discount?
letdown if he
Yeah.
has nothing for us.
But let's find out what Dan is up to and head on over to the moderation station. Good, still in orbit. Hey, buddy, how's it going?
I feel like that
Good, how are
mustache
you
is
guys
getting
doing?
wider.
Good. It might be.
It is getting wider. It's on its third language that it's learned this week.
You know, it's
It's
you know
great,
it's not
yeah.
November anymore, right?
This is for Halloween next year. I'm just
Good. I like
You're
your,
going to be Mr. Peanut.
I like your pre-plan.
yeah.
So Dan, just
so
wanted
bad
to introduce.
news, bad news, bad news, bad
Okay.
news.
Okay. Right.
I didn't do a discount this week.
Oh no,
Wah,
Things got ahead of me. I
wah.
forgot to do it.
it happens.
I
It happens.
apologize.
You get yourself busy there
So-
moderating the chat.
Yeah. Actually, I'm joking. I totally did a discount.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So what do these
So I'm
guys
doing
get a discount
15%
from?
off.
Okay.
15% off. And
Yep.
because it's puppy training, I figured I'd do the puppy tug.
Oh, great call.
I love
Good
those
for
tugs.
24 hours. McCann branded. Let me see if I can get it here. Ooh,
Oh, nice.
There
Yeah.
it is. 15% off for 24 hours. Get it
Amazing.
with train ticket.
Very cool. Yeah. So if you guys go to mccandogs.store, or I believe you type shop in the chat. I don't remember which one it is, but
Yeah, I'll send the links in there.
Okay, perfect.
He's lots of links, so he'll get us covered.
He is the guy. Now, is there anyone that you had to say anything to before we go back to the train station?
You know what? I'm not home. I'm here in the moderation station, so I better tell my kids, if you're still awake, get to bed.
Okay. On that note, girls, good night. And Dan, we'll be talking to you shortly.
Good night, girls.
See ya. Doodles.
Okay, well, that's pretty cool. People love those puppy tags.
I love
it's
those
hard,
puppy
It's hard to
tags.
keep them in stock.
Yeah, they are.
They're constantly...
What I like about them is how long we get them specifically made, like 4 feet long.
Yeah.
So you can run and it dangles behind you, and the puppies can grab it really
Totally.
easily because they're little, and yeah, they're awesome.
It's a tug toy, interactive toy, not a chew toy, just as a
Mm-hmm.
quick reminder. I see lots of names that I haven't seen in the chat before. So if you're new, if this is your first time here in the train station, just drop new in the chat. It's nice to have a sense of, people who are brand new to the show, and we can kind of, tactically move around some of the conversation to really make sure that you're getting the most out of this. So let us know by dropping new in the chat. And for those of you guys who have been here before, who this isn't your first train station, you'll know that all night long, we're going to be dropping some toots.
Well, Ken is.
The other, mostly me. The other thing I'd love to know, I see lots of new people already. The other thing I'd love to know, we've talked a little bit about how we've got some people from all over the world, and it's so fascinating to see people training in, some hot, arid country when it's so cold here in Canada. And so we have lots of students from Australia and New Zealand, and actually one of our amazing students, a bit of a superstar, sent us a video. Was it a recall in
through the desert?
Through the desert,
the coolest thing.
So cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Awesome.
But anyway, so talking about people from all over the world in our online training program, let us know tonight, where are you joining us from? Sometimes that can
lots of new people.
Sometimes that can inform our training as well. I know certainly there are different struggles if you live in a really urban environment versus more of a rural environment, but the foundation is the same. The 9 rules we're going to talk about are the same 9 rules that you will apply if you live in downtown New York City in Manhattan versus the Midwest in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. These are the same rules that you're going to apply to your training. So let's just see where we see. It also gives me an opportunity to do my romper room moment. It's fun for me as I try to make my way through it. Wow, I see. Okay, so I see, let's see, Uncle Yukon. He's not new, he's old. He's been here before. Good to see you again.
Hi, Uncle Yukon.
I see Dee from Florida, Pam from Ottawa, Jeremiah from the Philippines. Thanks for joining us from the Philippines. Bethany from North Carolina, Deb from California. Monique.
Carla from Peru.
Costa Rica, Taya from Cambodia.
Nice.
Wet and rainy British Columbia. You take care there, Careersby Jen. Hopefully you aren't in an affected area. Betty Ann Major from Hamilton. Betty Ann is a long-time train station passenger. Lucas says, I live in the ghetto. Sure, you know what? It's a lot of those dog training challenges are going to be the same.
Yep.
Dee from Florida, near Dayton. Ray from Apple Valley, California. Cecilia from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Liz from New Zealand. Lisa from Ohio. Alfred from Philippines. Okay.
Amazing.
Pretty pumped to see you
Jinx.
guys. Now, you owe me, I don't know.
A hot chocolate and a juice.
Yeah.
We're really
Gotta
excited.
juice it up.
Oh,
Okay.
it's very hot.
Let's talk about these 9 rules. Now, when we talk, when we deliver some of this information, when we deliver these 9 rules to you, it's important that you really take all of them to heart, because when you start leaving out some of these rules, you'll suffer. It's more difficult to get control, have a dog who wants to listen, and you're just going to run into more challenges. So I really want you to think of this as a collective set of rules that you can apply to your dog training. And I know when I say rules, people are like, oh boy, here we go. I better take out my notepad. And maybe you should, but I'll need to follow these to the letter of the law. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm going to change the way you think about dog training. Kayla's going to actually do most of the talking. She's very influential. I mean, she got me to marry her. So
Yeah. It was all in just a few words and he was hooked.
That's right.
It's because I'm so funny.
But
Looking.
this is the kind of stuff that is going to change things. So I really want you to think of this big picture. How am I going to affect my puppy training? The first thing that we talk about, and you might hear us talk a little bit about this kind of thing, is leadership. And leadership is a really important word that we use, and it's kind of abstract.
It's also a word that a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I think I'm a good leader.
For sure. And you know, sometimes leadership steps, people are apprehensive to go through some of the leadership steps because they'll think, oh, my dog's not going to like me if he can't jump up on my bed and sleep in my bed overnight. This is something you need to get over.
Yeah.
Eventually, your dog will be able to sleep in your bed. This is something that we do.
Will.
But they have to earn those opportunities.
Yeah.
And you know, if you rush things with your puppy, when there's like some confusion, you'll have a tougher time with house training. You'll have a tougher time with chewing, maybe nipping and biting and jumping up. These are some things that you might see.
Listening in general.
Absolutely. So the number one point, starting off, you need to say what you mean and mean what you say. Let's talk a little bit about what that might mean for your puppy training.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time when we have when we have young puppies, as Ken was saying, people are really apprehensive to put too many rules, or they want to put rules on the puppy, but they don't really know how to do it, and they're terribly inconsistent. And one of the biggest problems that we find that people do is they put their young puppies in too many opportunities, too many scenarios where they can make poor choices. And that in itself isn't good leadership. A good leader is a person that can take a very inexperienced puppy and mold them and shape them and help them to make good choices, so that we're spending more time saying, yes, good puppy, what a good choice, instead of, hey, stop doing that. No, don't do that. So that's really what it's all about. And by delivering the information in that way to your puppy, it changes how they feel about you, because most of their interactions with you are positive ones. And so leadership doesn't have to be about being a drill sergeant and
screaming and yelling, being the biggest one in the room.
That's right. And having all these crazy rules on the dogs. You do need to have rules for sure, and you do need to follow through, but it's also just about the overall presentation and making sure that you're not giving your poor puppy, who has no experience, doesn't really know how to make choices yet, all these scenarios where it's so easy for them to make mistakes. And that's what we want you to learn to do better when you're raising your puppy. And that also builds a lot of confidence in your pup as well.
When you say what you mean and mean what you say, it means that you're not going to ask your your puppy 35 times to sit.
Especially when you haven't taught them to sit.
Absolutely.
Or when they call their puppy and you haven't taught your dog to come when they're called. A lot of people just forget that it takes repetition. And just because your puppy learns something in one spot, they sit perfectly in the kitchen, doesn't mean they sit at the park. They sit when other dogs are there. They sit when people come in the house. They sit when there's cars driving by. Those are totally different scenarios. So we have to remember, puppy brains are young and inexperienced, and they need a lot of help. For sure.
Part of that might be you don't use those words until your dog has a foundation, has an understanding. I'll give you a very specific example. Maybe this applies to you. We won't use our puppy's name unless we're training. You'll see in our Euchre series video that we don't use the dog's name unless we're sure we can get the outcome we want, because we don't want the puppy to learn, I say that word over and over again, and it doesn't really mean anything. Instead, we'll use like pop, 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 and make funny sounds. Kale's really good at making squeaky noises. Yeah, if you guys have seen the show before, and I know a lot of you guys have said.
Even the older dogs still like that sound.
Have said, my. As soon as Kale yeses, my puppy springs into action, springs to life.
So squeaky.
But these are the kinds of things that you can do to say what you mean and mean what you say. So you save that dog's name, or you save that sit command, or whatever the thing is you're working on, until you're training it.
Yeah.
Because if you're not training, you might be testing, and your dog might not be ready for it.
And you know what I try to do when I have a puppy is before I call my puppy's name, I will ask myself, what's the likelihood that my puppy's going to turn right now? Is the percentage really high? And if that's the case, I'll call them, and I'll make sure that if I am going to put myself in that scenario, I'm ready with a reward. That could be treats, that could be their favorite tug toy, that could be the ability to run away and let them chase me. Rewards look like a bunch of things. And if I say to myself, that's a pretty tough distraction, or my puppy's a little bit further away, I wouldn't end up testing them. I might go right up to them and call their name, and then show them with some food to turn, or give them a little tap or a little pinch in the bum that's playful, and then turn and run away and make it fun. So every time my puppy hears their name, they're like, woo, I'm missing out on a party, I need to come. So try and think to yourself, is this a smart decision that I'm asking my dog to do this thing in this moment? Or would it be better that I show and help my puppy instead?
Mackenzie says, Kale, you'll wake right up with those sounds.
Oh, I'll try not to pop too loud.
We talked a little bit about putting your dog in situations where they're likely to be right. And this is sort of an extension of saying what you mean and meaning what you say. So often people put their dogs in situations where the puppy's probably going to fail, and you might not even realize it at first, but you start to notice if you're not getting whatever result you want, you need to identify that as something you need to work on. So if we were to get a new puppy and we were going to leave that puppy in the kitchen for 4 hours with all sorts of room, and their second
that literally
week home,
gets me anxiety just hearing you say that.
Right, because we've seen the worst case scenarios, and we've seen how people struggle when they start the puppy doing things like that. So, that's setting your puppy up to fail. So we wouldn't give the dog that much freedom for that length of time. And that's something that I need you to remember. Are you setting your dog up to be right? I know I've seen people say things like, oh, well, it's easy, when you have a dog who listens so well, or it's so easy for you when, you have all this room. Well, you need to set the dog up to be right. So if you have a dog who's struggling with
less room's easier.
Right. Well, for sure. Yeah. If you have a dog that's struggling, let's say with walking on leash, I know this is a pretty popular one for a lot of you guys, then you need to find somewhere or go somewhere that has less distractions, that has only you to really check in with, so that you're the most valuable thing around. I was reading a thing the other day that was talking about the conditioning dogs have, were bred and have survived because of this immediate recognition of a change in the environment, basically.
Okay.
So as soon as something changes the environment, they see it because that's how they stayed alive for so long. And then we have the expectation that when we go out on our walk, that our dog is going to remain in at our side, or our puppy's just going to pay attention to us. And
it's like they're born knowing how to do it.
That's right. It is not it's not an intuitive behavior. So we need to be really mindful of that. So if you're struggling with walking on leash, you need to find some way of making sure that the distractions aren't overwhelming for your dog. Maybe that means you have a really great reward. You've rewarded your dog a couple times in an environment where they can't fail, and you've gotten a little bit more attention. Maybe then you can try some of these more challenging things. But when it comes to your puppy, when we're talking about putting them in situations where they can't fail, that means you're not leaving them out for the afternoon in the living room. You're not I'm trying to think of a situation. You're not rolling around on the ground with them if you're struggling with puppy biting. Like, these are situations where your puppy's like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And I want to bite and play.
And it's very confusing because we have a lot of people, I know we have a lot of wives that say this about their husbands. I don't want to start any problems out there.
Where are you going
with
this?
But, a lot of men like to roughhouse with their puppies and get down and play and do all these things.
Yeah.
And then that is fine to do later on when the puppy understands, how not to use their mouth and all that kind of stuff. But it can be very challenging when you have a puppy that's getting a lot of mixed messages of sometimes they're allowed to jump all over you, nip and bite and play. And then later on, they're not allowed to jump all over your kid and nip and bite them. When they're puppies, they have a hard time distinguishing situations. They can't understand when they're young, I'm allowed to do this here, but I'm not allowed to do that there. Right. So it's really, really important when you have a puppy or a dog or anything that's in training that you need to be consistent. Consistency is it is so important that you're setting your puppy up to get good information from everybody in the household and all of the time. So Charlotte says, that's my house. It must be a guy thing. Yeah, I mean, some girls do it too, but it's common to do that. The other thing you said that about not leaving them out for a long time. I think people are really surprised when we tell people how much time our puppies actually spend in the crate when we first have them. They're like flabbergasted by that. And
you'll see that in the
Euchre video. In the Euchre series, you'll see how much time she spends in her crate, but you'll also see that when she's not in her crate, how much quality time and full focus I'm giving to her to make sure that she's getting a lot of great information. She's getting thoroughly exercised. She's getting great training. So by the time she goes into her crate for hours, when I have to work and do all these other things and I can't watch her, I feel no guilt because I know she's just had a really great training session. She's tired. She's gone to the bathroom. She's can go in her crate and she can sleep for a few hours. Yeah. Rather than me trying to multitask and have her run around the house getting into trouble, my puppies just don't have an opportunity to get into mischief because they're never, ever out of their crate without me watching them. And a lot of people make that mistake. They just, that whole freedom thing is something that they don't understand is earned over time.
For sure. You talked a little bit about using something like a crate, and I had no idea. I mean, I was the dog owner that made all the mistakes, and I suffered for it. I struggled with behavior for a long time with my first dog before I became a dog trainer. But management tools are so important. Using something like a crate, using something like a house line. I know I see a lot of people saying things like, oh, I try to use the house line, but my puppy turns it into a chew toy. Not uncommon. And this is something you have to train
Yeah.
through with that puppy. Any piece of equipment is just a piece of equipment. It doesn't magically fix anything, but boy, oh boy, will it put you in a situation where you can give that dog better information. So that might mean that the first little while when your puppy comes out of their crate, put a house line on, now you've got 4 extra feet of control. Your puppy's going to think you're some sort of magician.
Go gadget arms.
Yeah, puppy training magician. And you might have to, take the line out of their mouth and, get them to do something, give them something to chew on. But it's not going to magically fix anything. But these management tools are exactly how you're going to have better timing, which is crucial in dog training and in puppy training. It's going to allow you to live a normal life so that you're not constantly thinking, what is the puppy getting into now? I haven't seen them for 35 minutes. What could they possibly be doing? And you come back and they've had an accident on the floor and the carpet's chewed up.
Yeah.
These are the mistakes that people make.
You need to hit yourself with the newspaper.
That's right. Yeah. Well, this is, and I mean, your puppy's learning all the time. Whether you're teaching them or you're not teaching them, they're learning. So what do you want them to be learning? The management tools we're talking about tonight are exactly how you're going to make sure they're getting the best information possible. This is a rule you must live by, and for your puppy's sake. It's just going to speed up your training, guys. The people will come into classes and you can tell who are like really watching their puppies closely, who have like a high expectation, in like the first class.
You can see it in like how the dog looks at the person or listens to the person or chooses them over the distractions in the room. And it's not necessarily because of training. It's because that person has really given that puppy good information. And so the puppy really views them as a leader. And that's what puppies want. When, puppies sort of seek that from somebody, then they want to be with them. They want to follow them. That's how they are. If you see a litter of puppies, or if you see a pack of dogs and there's a leader dog in the pack, it's always the one being followed around and being watched, and that's what puppies will do with humans too.
Yeah.
They sort of say, "Oh, you're in charge here. I need to know everything about what you're going to do," and you start to see that connection form between that person and that dog. It's really cool to see.
I know, a pretty common question that we get, and I see Norma Nelson has dropped a super chat.
Norma,
we're going to get right back to you in just a second. I was just thinking about people who occasionally see a comment like, "Oh, I have this breed of dogs, too big for a crate. What am I supposed to do now?" When we say, let's think about management. What do we ultimately want to have happen? We want to give the dog a limited space area so that they can learn to hold their bladder, or more importantly, so that they can't get into trouble, so that they don't chew on things. So maybe you can come up with a creative idea of like an area that your dog can go to. What's important is that they need to stand up, sit down, lie down comfortably, and turn around without issue. And
not be able to eat things.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and not go to the corner and have a pee and then go to the other corner. So, think about not what the item is, but what you want the item to do when we're talking about management.
That's a good point.
House line is a great example of that. It doesn't have to be a 4-foot house line, but that would be helpful because, the texture is nice. You can pick it up. Maybe we've used this, like maybe it's like a string, not a string. What am I looking for? Like a piece of rope, for sure. If it gives you the control, that's what you want. You need to have these management tools. Now, we need to talk about Norma Nelson. Drop in the super chat. Thank you, Norma. Norma asks, Feeny is now 1 year old. When I watched...
How did that happen? I remember when Norma was on train station saying she was getting her puppy.
Yeah. When I wash a dog bed or blanket, she will pee on it. As a pup, she had a total of 5 accidents in the house. Is she marking?
Yeah, it certainly could be that she's marking Norma if she has a fairly good understanding of house training. It's with only 5 accidents, it sounds like a 80-year-old. She probably does. It definitely could be marking. Just throwing this out there, I don't know if she's come into season yet, but sometimes that's with female dogs. That is sometimes something that they'll do when they're coming into season. We have a border collie that would do that a little bit. So that's a possibility. But regardless of what it is, it does sound like marking. You're just going to need to up the supervision a little bit more, just like anything else. And then it's already good that you've determined that it's washed blanket or bed, so you kind of know when it's possible to happen, which is great. So the next time you wash your stuff and you put it down, you're just going to need to keep a closer eye on Feeny, so that if you see her starting to sniff or looks like she's about to go to the bathroom, you can scold her and catch her in the act, and then redirect her, just like you would any other time.
And mark that moment. That's a great point. And Norma, thank you for the great question, because it basically applies to some of the first three things that we've been talking about. So now you can really be aware when Feeny might make the mistake, you're going to up the supervision.
Yeah.
Well, this is one thing that I see a lot, and this is, I don't know whether I did this, but I know it's a common struggle for most puppy owners and dog owners, is you don't give your dog food for no reason. And I'm talking about like rewards and treats, and certainly you need to feed your dog twice a day. Actually, I would use that food in training. Those are like two great training opportunities throughout the day. But I really want you to be mindful when you're rewarding your dog, what are you rewarding them for? So often people will say, the puppy will just be around and then they'll get a treat and they'll get a piece of chicken, or this often happens with like human food. People are sitting there and they haven't put their puppy in a kennel or on a bed or something, and they're sitting and they're having like chicken, and the puppy comes over just looking so damn cute. And you feel compelled to reward them, so they'll get that chicken. And then you try to get out and you try to do some training, and the puppy's like, I don't know, this kibble isn't that interesting anymore. I'm not that into cheese. So I want you to be really intentional when it comes to rewarding your dog. Every time you give them something, what are you giving it to them for? And actually, I just thought about mealtime training. Maybe every mealtime you work on the weight. We did that in one of our recent videos. It was like get these 5 wins every morning or something like that. Yep. That's a great way to start. Great one for self-control. These are great ways to start your training off on the right foot.
Yeah, very much so. Okay, do you want to elaborate on that more?
Yeah, I think we should talk a little bit about this. I mean,
super chats.
What do you think about? Is there anything you can add to that, to the point of like not rewarding your dog? When might people see it? What detrimental effect might it have?
Yes, you certainly just don't want to be giving the food out for free, but you also want to make sure that when you're rewarding your dog, they're doing something worth rewarding for. I can give you a really simple example of this, because this is something that I see a lot with new puppy owners and inexperienced dogs, is the puppy will be doing something great, like sitting and looking at them, for example.
Oh, that's
and then which is a great thing to reward, absolutely amazing thing to reward. And then what will happen is by the time the person gets the reward out, that puppy's now up sniffing on something and the leash is completely tight, and the person still wants to and then reward. And so even though you're rewarding and the intention is good, you also want to remember that dogs learn within 1 second. And if you're trying to mold and shape puppies into doing things that you want, you need to be rewarding when your dog's actually doing that great thing. So if they're no longer sitting and looking at you, you've missed your moment. So try to make sure that if you are going to be giving out rewards, it's not only for nothing, but it's also for it's not only not for nothing, I meant to say, but it's also for things that are actually worthy of getting a reward, so that you're reinforcing the things that you want.
I love where you went with that, because this is a challenge people have, specifically for something like the stay.
Yeah.
Your dog's done a great sit stay, and this isn't puppy training anymore. This is or walking. They're just feeding the dog on a tight leash in at their side just because the dog happens to be there, rather than the dog choosing to be on a loose leash. Maybe giving them attention. Maybe a tough distraction went by and you've rewarded. But be mindful. Be mindful when you reward. Now, we need to talk about Ben Blake. Ben Blake dropping the $20 super chat.
Thank you, Ben.
We got a super toot for Ben. Now, I like this question because we're rolling into the holiday season. Ben Blake says, need help. What are some good Christmas gifts for a dog-loving partner?
I mean, this is going to sound like a horrible suggestion, but how about a dog class?
Yeah, really. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm actually not kidding. But, I think it just depends on what that person likes to do. I don't know. What do you think?
I honestly, Ben, and this is, understand that I was a student long before I was a dog trainer. There's some other ideas that I'm going to get to, but I spent so much money on my dog trying to get her to do the things that I wanted to do.
Her.
Right. That's what I was looking for. I bought all of the equipment. I tried all of the methodologies. I just tried stuff. Nothing was as good as dog training. Nothing holds a candle to when my vet said, listen, you have to go over to McCann Dogs. And I'm like, oh no, I don't want to go to dog training. And then I get over there and I was so happy with the results. I was so happy with the process. I fell in love with dog training. Now I'm sitting here wearing a blue shirt. So for any of you who are thinking, what can I get my partner, my spouse, my whatever, training is a great thing. Now, on top of that, what about things, because I know you love to get the dogs different colored collars. Does your partner have
I love collars. I like different types of dog toys.
Yeah.
I also really like a good dog bed. I like different types of, I like crates in my van. I like crates at work. I like crates in my house. So can never have too many crates.
If you're going to get something for Jamie, who's your best friend.
Yes.
Like she's an avid dog agility competitor.
Yes.
Maybe what would you get her? Like what would be a interesting dog thing?
I would probably get her like something personalized.
Okay.
Like a personalized collar or a personalized toy or leash.
Yeah.
Or like a personalized like sign for her dog's crate when she flies the dog.
Yeah.
That might not apply to all the people that are watching, but that's something that we would like.
Totally.
Or I might get her a piece of like agility equipment or something that she could do with her dog, or I might get her a private lesson with one of her favorite instructors.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah, there's lots of things.
Tons of stuff. Okay, Ben, I hope we helped you out. SoCal Explorer dropping the super chat. SoCal Explorer asks, my pup and I are struggling with crate alone time. What can I do to help her?
So hopefully I'm interpreting this correctly. So crate alone time. So when you have the puppy in the crate and you're not there, like you're not entertaining the puppy, is that how you read the question?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, some puppies can be a little bit unsure in their crate. There's a number of reasons why. And to give you an absolutely perfect personalized answer, I would need to ask you more questions, but I'm going to give you some general information. Number one, make sure that you're using the crate enough at lots of different times that the puppy isn't associating the crate with the absence of you. Whether that means they're only going in their crate when you go to bed, they're only going in their crate when you're leaving, because some puppies will start to put two and two together and say, every time you put me in there, you disappear, and I don't like that. Make sure that the puppy's also spending time in their crate with and without you in the room. That's really important. Yeah. For bonding reasons, it is fabulous to have the puppies, crated. When we first get a puppy home, usually we put the crate in our kitchen because it's a very central area in our home. But when we're in our TV room, the puppy who's in the kitchen can't see us. So usually when they're puppies, we'll pull the crate over into the living room so they can see us. But after, a few weeks go by, we purposely put the puppy in the kitchen in the crate, and we're in the living room and they can't see us. If I'm working, I work from home sometimes. Sometimes I'll have the puppy in the office with me, and sometimes I'll have the puppy in the crate in the kitchen. So switch it up on a regular basis. But if you do it on a regular basis, it doesn't become such a thing. And last but not least, sometimes what you can do when you're working this is make the crate a more positive thing by feeding all your puppy its meals in the crate, just to build more positivity. Or when you leave the puppy, leave them with something delicious, like a Kong full of like cheese or peanut butter, or a really great chew bone, something that can kind of pacify and occupy the dog when you're not there. Or cover the crate is also another good tip too.
Good. So let's talk about natural training opportunities and why that is going to be such a huge part. We talk a lot about skills training. We talk a lot about working through some of the challenges that you have with your puppy training, but where the rubber meets the road, when you take those skills and those very formal feeling activities that you do with your dog and you start to apply them to the real world, which is ultimately what we all want. We want these skills to work in the real world. We need to talk about natural training opportunities. And when we're talking about natural training opportunities, these are exceptional leadership moments, and you'll get them every single day.
Every day.
I bet, I would hazard a guess that you might be missing at least 10 natural training opportunities right now, today, that you missed with your dog. That would have been so good for their training, so good for their learning. But if you're not really thinking about them, you're likely to miss them. And these are things that take 8 seconds, 5 seconds to change, to turn it from this thing that happens into a training opportunity for your dog. Let's talk about some of those natural training opportunities.
When I think about natural training opportunities, especially speaking specifically about like at home with the puppy, I try to think about developing a bit of a routine with the puppy. So, you know, for example, in the morning when you're waiting for your coffee to brew, or in her case, tea, or we're waiting for breakfast, that's such a great, like, 3 or 4 minutes to maybe teach the puppy to like lie on a bed. Totally. Now, when the puppy's a puppy, I'm not going to say on your bed and walk away. They don't know that, but I might take that 3 minutes, have a whole bunch of treats, and be rewarding my dog generously for being on the bed. And so after we do that for weeks and weeks in a row, what will start to happen is the puppy says, oh, when mom does this, I do this and I get rewarded for it. And that just naturally starts to happen. Every single time somebody comes to the door at our house, that's a training opportunity. You know, where's the puppy? What can I do here? Puppy's on a leash. We're working on sits. We're working on go and lie down. Or maybe we're just working on being quiet in your crate when somebody comes in. But I think what a lot of people do is they just think about life. They think about what's in front of them, and they don't necessarily think about what's happening with the puppy. Yeah. Ken said this earlier, but puppies are learning every single second of the day, whether you're intentionally teaching them or not. And so that's where these natural learning moments are the most important, because they sneak up on us sometimes when we least expect it, and then we're thinking about what we're supposed to be doing, and we're not thinking about what the puppy's learning in that moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think of all of the times, and simply like waiting to come out of the crate.
Yeah, super great self-control.
Well, it does a few things. Number one, your puppy, when they come out, you are there. You are the center of their world. You have allowed them to come out of that crate. You've also brought them out, and they're not doing a puppy burn, like doing hot laps.
Which means they're less likely to jump and nip on you.
Exactly. Yeah, they're just a little bit more mindful. And you can start with a manageable dog. You can start with a puppy that's giving you a little bit more attention. Those kinds of exercises are so great. And really, think about that. You know, this is a 10, 15 second activity that can change your puppy's behavior. Why are you not doing them? You know, start those today.
Every time you call your puppy to you to hook on their leash, have them sit first. Take their collar. Reward them for allowing you to take control. So that's a positive thing before you put their leash on. There's so many things that you can integrate into your everyday interaction with your dog that builds better leadership on your part, and just a better listener, more respectful, but happy dog, because you're making it all fun things. That way you're not trying to teach them that they need to listen to you by disciplining them. It's by showing them what they should do to be right. And that sort of circles all the way back to the very first thing I said at the start of the stream.
Specifically, let's talk about that. You know, we're talking about varying ages, of course, and you talked about asking your dog to sit before you clip their leash on. Mm-hmm. This is as your dog gets older. Maybe you have a dog that you are going for walks. They're 18, 20 weeks, whatever. As your dog gets a little bit older, that is such a game-changing moment. I mean, we see that. We'll see wild and crazy dogs. Maybe let me know in the chat. Do you have a dog?
Do you have a dog that knows how long your arms are?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Or do you have a dog that knows the moment you're about to get the leash? They're like, here we go. It's party time. Let's go. And then you go out the door and they're flying, they're zooming around like a helicopter. It's really common. And I don't want you to think that you have an atypical dog. Super common. Well, how would that look if you ask your dog to sit without any other, you're not placing them in a sit, you're just asking them to sit. And the only way that you're going to clip the leash on is if they sit. What if you had to wait them out and you're like, eventually their little butt hits the floor, like, okay, now we can go outside. Think about how your dog sees the world differently at that point. I mean, it makes a massive difference in your training. There are so many opportunities with your puppy that you can take just like that. Mm-hmm. The food bowl touches the floor, puppy gets up, up it comes. Food bowl touches the floor, your puppy waits there and you say, okay. And your puppy learns it. Okay, I put in a little bit of work. I pay attention for a fraction of maybe a second or two. It's just a fraction of time, and then I get the thing that I want. Mm-hmm. This is how you're going to change the way your puppy thinks about you and about your training. This is really how we get motivation.
Yeah, and you might be thinking like, oh my gosh, they're throwing so many examples at me. This is like so hard to remember.
That's true.
But this is literally the type of stuff that we do in our Puppy Essentials online course. I don't know if now's a good time to talk about this, but this is just a great segue.
Yeah.
Because sometimes knowing what to do with your puppy is super overwhelming. You don't really know where to start. And I'm going to be super honest with you guys. We have a great YouTube channel, and I'm sure you're here watching us today because hopefully you've seen our YouTube videos and they've helped you. They've given you some ideas. But It's only a very, very, very small piece of what we actually do with our training in a whole program. And so that's what we have a course called Puppy Essentials for puppies 5 months and under. And we have a course called Life Skills Online that's for 5 months and over. And what these courses are about is teaching your dog the whole picture, teaching you step by step what you need to do to teach your dog to be a good listener. And of course, we're going to work on all the basics, coming when they're called, reliably around distractions, learning to walk on a loose leash. In our Puppy Essentials program, it's all about teaching your puppy to not nip and bite, to have great manners, to be confident, to learn to love to listen, to learn how to problem solve,
To not have accidents.
to not have accidents in the house, to learn about crate training. But the absolute best part that we do with our online programs is that you get daily access to professional dog trainers, where we can help you every step of the way. We will review video. We get to know you and your dog by name. I think a lot of people are worried when they take an online class that, you know, you're just going to watch a series of videos and that's it. There are videos. There's videos out the wazoo. But there's also a lot of face-to-face interaction. We do weekly Zoom calls. Like I said, we really get to know you and your puppies, which means when you say, hey, you know, Fluffy's doing this, I can say, well, I know Fluffy's this kind of dog, so you need to do this to work through that. So we can get really specific with our stuff. So you can check out some of the links in the chat to check it out. And I'm sure we have lots of PE and LS students in the chat, and they can attest to how helpful it was. But you know, the YouTube videos are great, but the programs are so much more in depth.
I've spent nearly almost 25 years as someone who provides pre-hospital care. I've taken 2 years of anatomy, a year and a half of physiology, maybe 6 months of pathophysiology. What's a wazoo?
I was like, where the heck are you going with this?
I've never heard of wazoo.
I don't know. Out the wazoo, isn't that a saying?
I think it is. I don't know.
Is it like a nicer word for butt?
I think so.
Okay.
We need to talk about a couple of you guys who are dropping the super chats. Number one, Super Foster.
Wazoo would be a good name for a dog. That would be funny.
Super Foster, thank you for the super chat. Super Foster says, I've learned so much from your... thank you, McCann Dogs. I've learned so much from your channel. I have incorporated your daily tips with my foster puppies, and also Walter, my 8-month-old pup.
Walter.
And I really... That's such a cute name.
Such a cute name.
And I really appreciate it. Well, thank you
that's
very
so
much,
kind.
Super Foster.
Thank you
That's
for
really
that.
Nice. Thank you for that. Let's see. From Luana Limitless... Possibilities. Thanks for the super chat. 6-month-old Frenchies, house training, for example. Last night, one ran to the pee pad, went pee, then ran to another area to poo.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about supervision.
The first thing that I would say is ditch the pee pads.
But I know some people can't. Like some people live in an area.
If you
that they
live in a really, really high apartment and it's really impossible to get outside, then yes, maybe. But 6 months old, that's absolutely old enough to understand how to hold it to go outside. If you had a young puppy, then maybe I might be a little bit softer with that. But the pee pads are really blur the lines about going to the bathroom inside and outside. So that's definitely the first thing that I would do. Second thing, as Ken was implying there, is supervision is going to be really, really important. You know, when you're, and this is actually what's going to help you to transfer from the pee pads to going outside, is when you have the dog go over the pee pad, obviously it's showing you that it has to go to the bathroom. Instead of letting it go into the bathroom with the pee pad, then say, hey, do you have to go outside? Hook the leash on and then take them outside from there. But you need to start recognizing signs that the puppy has to go outside or the dog has to go outside, and then start using that to teach your puppy how to ask you to go outside, so that, you know, it's sort of their responsibility to come and let you know. But if the puppy is being able to pee on the pee pad and then you're not paying attention and they're going other places, they're not being supervised, they don't really know it's wrong because there's no clear rules as to what you need to do. So really up your supervision. And if you can, try to, in the next week or so, wean off those pee pads and start to transfer the dog to asking you to go outside, so that it's just, the water's a little bit less muddy. It's a little clearer as to what your puppy's supposed to do to be right.
I just got a message from our online training director from head office, and I love what she's saying. She says, and maybe they're going to drop it in the chat. So because you guys have been asking such great questions, and you guys have really been a really great, lots of chats, lots of good information, lots of conversation. She's actually created a coupon code just for you guys.
Lexi Lou.
Very cool. I'm gonna add it.
Because she's the head of our care department.
That's right. Yeah. I'm gonna add it.
Excuse me.
If you go to mccandogs.com, then go to our online training, and you use this, it's a fresh coupon code. This is brand new. This literally happened as we were talking.
Wow.
We got a message from Alexis.
Amazing.
Very cool. So you can
Thanks,
use
Lex.
that. You can use that coupon code for your training. It's only available for the next 24 hours to get $30 off. So it's pretty
Puppy
awesome.
Essentials or Life Skills.
Yeah, very cool. Thanks,
And
Alexis.
then you can hang out with us on Monday for our Zoom call.
That's right. Yeah. If you haven't got enough of this,
That's right.
you can get more on Monday.
Yes.
If you're struggling with your dog training, if you're planning to give your dog only good information, that means you need to control the resources. This is often something that people struggle with because they want to give their dog lots of opportunities to self-soothe, there's an expectation that, well, if I have 45 chew toys down, that they're not going to chew on my shoes. And that is not the
Literally
case.
the opposite.
Let's talk about controlling the resources.
Yeah. So controlling resources is one of the easiest and best ways to create better leadership for your puppy and to teach your puppy that good things come through you. If everything is just so readily available to them on a regular basis and they don't need you to reward themselves, you become less important in their life. If they don't need you to eat, if they don't need you to go outside to the bathroom, if they don't need you to find a snuggly place to sleep, if they don't need you to entertain them, to play, you become a lot less important. So controlling resources, the resources that we're talking about are resources that specifically your dog finds rewarding. Yeah. So we want to take all of the things that our dogs find rewarding and we want to make them be about us. So food, freedom, toys, anything like that. If the puppy learns that those things come through us or doing things for us, it elevates our leadership status. So we'll give you specific examples. We talked about don't feed your dog for nothing. That's a perfect example. But it could be letting your dog up on the furniture and letting them sleep in your bed. This is something that everybody wants to do with your dogs. I'm included. My dog absolutely sleeps on the couch and in the bed with me. However, they earn it, and I don't allow them to do that as puppies. I don't allow them to do it until I can completely trust that they're not going to make any mistakes in my house when I'm not watching them, that they aren't nipping and biting, that they come when they're called reliably, that they're respectful and kind, and all of those things. And when that happens, then I'm going to loosen the reins and let them have a little bit more freedom. So you do want to make sure that you're controlling those things. And if you are going to allow them a little bit more freedom, you should always give them permission first. So, the dog should be given permission to get up on the couch, or they should be given permission to go out the door, so that it's your idea that the dog is allowed to have that certain thing. It just goes back to that simple thing of like coming out of the crate. Give them permission to come out of the crate. And again, this is not about being a drill sergeant. This is simply about saying, I know you want to come out and play, but guess what? I'm the one that gives you the opportunity to come out and play. So wait for me for 2 seconds and have a calm mind. Okay, then come out and play. So you can do it in a really nice, happy way, giving the puppy exactly what they want, but you get something first. And that's really what controlling resources are all about. And remember, we'll reiterate again, some of these rules that we're suggesting that you do, dogs off furniture or all these things, it's not forever. Crate training, it's not forever. It's for when dogs are young and they need, they're not responsible yet. They don't know how to make perfect decisions, without somebody helping them along the way. Once they understand that, then you can give your dog everything on a silver platter should you wish to do that, but they need to be ready for that.
I met Albert last week. He actually popped by our training facility.
I know. I'm so sad I didn't get to meet you, Albert.
And this is a good question. It kind of links to this, to what you were just talking about. Would resource control fall under the leadership portion? And it's a big part of it for sure. Yeah,
they definitely go hand in hand.
I wanted to rewind just like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. I feel like you missed a great opportunity. When you said we're talking about controlling resources, you said, what did you say? It was food. And then what was the other thing?
Food, freedom.
That's okay. Yeah. So you said food, freedom, and toys. What you should have said was food, freedom, and fun.
Oh,
isn't that a fun way to do that?
F's?
Yeah. Isn't that a way more fun way to do it?
Okay.
I don't know. I like it.
And fuzzy toys.
And fuzzy toys. Yeah. The other F
Frisbees.
word. Oh, okay. That works for some dogs. So, teaching your dog to earn an opportunity, to earn the right, it's not even a right, to earn the opportunity to get up on the couch, to get up on the bed. And what's your litmus test? Like, how are you deciding that, okay, it's at this point that I think my dog's ready to come up on the couch?
Yep. Basically, two things. Number one, when I can't really remember the last time I felt my dog pushed my authority.
What does that mean, though?
Like when I've asked them to do something and they have deliberately ignored me.
Right. Yeah. It's not like they didn't hear you.
No.
It's like
they do like that. I don't really want to pay attention to you right now.
Right.
If they're pushing the boundaries, or if they're misbehaving and just being a bit bratty, I'm not going to give them those freedom. The second thing is that if I have the ability in that moment to stop whatever I'm allowing them to do with just a word, then I will give them the opportunity to do that. So for couch, for example, if I say, hop up and let them on the couch, and if I say, hey, off you get, and they get off immediately, you can come out, you can get on the couch. Or if I'm tugging and I say out, and the dog drops immediately, then you can tug away, have a lot of fun. So it's about making sure that at the end of the day, I have control. And when I have control, I'm going to be so much fun. But I want to make sure that at the end of the day, there's still that respect there.
Mary H, drop it in. Turn the lights a beautiful shade of blue. Mary, I've never seen that color.
Today. No,
I've never seen that color.
Usually
before.
it's like red or orange.
Yeah.
It's McCann blue.
It's neat. Yeah, that's a neat color. I don't think lights have ever been that color. Tanya Roxborough, one of our Heart Dog supporters.
Hi, Tanya. She's she took lots of classes with us, with Coach, I believe her dog's name was.
We can't. So we talked about we're going through the 9 rules for puppy training, and that will change everything. It will completely change your puppy training. Number 1, say what you mean what you say. Number 2, put your dogs in situations where they can be successful. Number 3, management tools will be very helpful to allow your dog to get good information only. Number 4, don't give your dog food for no reason. Make them earn it. Number 5, natural training opportunities. These are happening multiple times a day. Don't miss out on them, because this is, as I mentioned, where the rubber meets the road. This is where your training, the formal stuff, turns into the real life stuff. Number 6, control the resources. Your dog doesn't need to have 75 toys. You give them one, and it's kind of under your discretion that they get it, and where they get it, and when they get it. Number 7, dogs need to earn opportunities. They need to earn the opportunity to get on your bed, to get on the couch, to get up, whatever.
To be off leash.
Yeah, to be off leash. That's a great one, and I think people rush that. They're like, it's fenced in.
That actually would have been a better example to use.
Yeah, but I mean, it totally makes sense. Yeah. Number 8, we need to talk about your timing, because if your dog's making mistake after mistake and you're late and you're not interrupting them, redirecting them, giving them information early enough. A great example of this is the dog has an accident in the house and you walk in and you step in it, or you walk in and you find it and you're
the dog's in the other room and having a nap.
Yeah, and you're like, wow, come on, what? I can't believe you know how to do this. Well, that's not fair. You need to be a great leader, to change your puppy training. The rule is, how long do you think you have? I want you to let me know in the chat, how long do you think you have between when the dog makes a mistake or the dog makes a great choice and you give them information? How much time in between until your dog is sort of disconnected from that idea? Let us know.
Lost your moment.
Yeah, let us know in the chat. But you need to make sure that you aren't waiting too long. This is especially important with stuff like digging, barking, accidents in the house, and all of your dog training, really.
Especially when there's self-rewarding behaviors like
Absolutely, yeah. Something like barking feels good. It just feels good to do it.
Or sometimes it's actually getting a reaction to whatever it's barking at, and so that's a reward in the dog, in the dog as well. And it's fun to do because the dogs, if they're allowed to sit at the window and bark at everybody that walks past your window or at the squirrels, and that's happening over and over and over again. Well, your dog can't wait till the point in the day when they're allowed to do that. So you can't let those things happen. One of the easiest ways to fix a problem is stop the rehearsal. You don't even have to train anything.
That's right.
You should, but one of the best things to do is to stop the rehearsal of the bad behavior.
So lots of great answers. It's about 1 second. There's not such a definitive number, but it's about 1 second. And after that, there's just too many things that could have happened, too much that could have changed, and your dog's disconnected from the idea. And this is why when we talk about management, it's so great because your puppy goes into some place where they can't get into trouble and then they come out, well, that's quality time. You can eyes on your puppy the whole time and giving them information. Yeah, that's a great choice. Oops, that's the wrong thing. I need to remove that and let's go over here and make lots of good choices again. But it's a very short period of time, so you can't let too much time elapse before you give them the right information.
And it is important because we have some people say, we'll say 1 second and they're like, oh no, my dog knows. My dog knows that I'm mad. And, I walk in and they pin their ears and like they look really sorry.
Oh, that's a good point.
And
people are like, oh, he knows.
Yeah,
he
it's
knows.
like their dog is extra special or something. But that's really what's not happening. What's happening is your dog knows you. Your dog knows how to read your body language better than any human on this planet. They know when you sigh or you clench your fists or you maybe you swear under your breath or whatever you do, that dog's gonna go, uh-oh, mom or dad's mad about something. I'm not sticking around to figure out what's happening here.
Right.
So they're actually not reacting to the fact that 2 hours ago they took a poo on your carpet. They're reacting to the fact that took a poo. I was going to say something else and then I stopped myself.
Thank goodness.
They're reacting to your behavior in that moment. So you just have to remember, you have to come in and just be like, oh, darn, bad me. I need to be better about this. You can't do anything to the dog at that point, unfortunately.
It's really important that when we are engaging with our puppies, when we are working with our dogs, that we're thinking about quality time. We talked a little bit about, actually, Instructor Shannon we made a video with her talking about enrichment and like how there's a sort of a misunderstanding about what enrichment is.
Yeah.
And we talked about quality time with our dogs. And some dogs can, if you have a dog who's making great choices and this dog has earned lots of opportunities, and maybe you can do a lot more enrichment activities that are solely focused on that thing. Maybe it's a puzzle, maybe it's a snuffle mat, whatever the thing is. But if you have a dog who you're working on some of these things, you feel like you're struggling and your dog's doing self-gratifying behaviors, you need to shift the focus. You need to shift some more of those activities, those enrichment activities, to things like trick training and things that involve you.
Yes.
But this is what we're talking about when we're talking about quality time. The other thing that's great about quality time is it burns off a lot of energy. Mm-hmm. This is the kind of stuff that where your dog's tired and they're ready to go in their crate. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter if it was a 20-minute session or a 30-minute session or an hour session. The fact that you're working hard with your dog, that you're like really, it's engaging. And it doesn't have to be physically engaging. Yeah. Maybe it's mentally engaging, but you're doing stuff with them. This dog is completely satisfied, ready to go lie down in their crate. And in fact, that's what they need. They need that latent learning.
And also, when you're doing things like trick training, specifically with a young puppy, it's also teaching them how to learn. It's also teaching them how to problem solve. It's also teaching them how to be right, how to be wrong without getting too worried about it, which means when you get into more serious things, the dog already is a very good student. They're ready to learn whatever you teach them. And I know personally, when I have a new puppy, because they're not old enough to walk them, they're not old enough to go to the park and do all of these things yet, you need to do something with them. For the first 3 or 4 or 5 weeks that I have the puppy home, I am trick training literally every single day. No, it's great to have a dog that does a whole bunch of cool tricks, that's for sure, but that's not really why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because it's a wonderful opportunity to spend one-on-one time with my puppy, bonding and teaching the puppy to listen to me and to like doing things. And it keeps them thoroughly mentally and physically entertained. So a lot of people say I'm not worried about tricks. I just want the puppy to listen to me. Tricks will teach your puppy to listen to you because there's a lot of things you need to be doing before you're hitting the streets and doing all these different things. So don't undermine the power of that.
This is like big picture thinking. It's so helpful. We missed a couple super chats that I've saved. Gitmac, thank you for the super chat. Love your channel. Suggestions for a 5-month-old Shepherd Lab mix that plays too rough and hard. Play biting is a big issue.
Like with you, do you mean? Or with
it sounds like it,
other dogs? Well, number one, you need to make sure with a 5-month-old dog that dog is on a leash or a line all of the time.
And it's not about the age.
When the dog is in the house. Yeah, any age. But especially with a 5-month-old Shepherd Lab, that dog's probably already fairly big already. So it's going to be really important, so that when your dog decides to initiate play inappropriately with you, you're able to get control by standing up tall and using the leash to make your dog sit. But if you aren't able to get control of the dog and the dog's able to dance around you and jump up and actually successfully jump on you and bite you, you're not going to be able to diffuse the problem very quickly. So you need to have a leash on, and you need to be able to get the dog doing something different. And one of the best things to do in that moment is to get the dog into a sit. You could try asking the dog to sit, but I would bet in that moment that dog's going to be in like, I don't need to listen to you, I'm having a party mode. So in which case you could say sit and either lift up on the leash or lift up on the leash and place your dog into a sit just to get that dog to listen right away. And then you can reward calmly when the dog is sitting on a loose leash, but not until they're sitting on a loose leash. And don't be discouraged if it takes you a few moments, especially if this is not something you've done with your dog. Your dog is going to be like, whoa, what is going on here? You know, you're taking control of me. This is different. So just persevere until the dog understands the game isn't going to be played that way.
Brandy Foxwell also dropping a super chat. Worried about resource guarding when mommy and puppy comes home tomorrow, and how soon should we start your class with a 7-week-old shepherd?
I wasn't listening.
Worried about resource guarding when mommy and puppy comes home tomorrow, and how soon should we start your class with a 7-week-old German shepherd?
Oh, okay. You can start the course at any time, even with the 7-week-old shepherd. There's lots of information that you can get to.
We actually get lots of people in before they've gotten their puppy.
Before they even get their puppy home. Yes, that's very true, because there's just lots you can take in. So as soon as you get the puppy, you basically can hit the ground running. In terms of the resource guarding, we actually have a 4-week progression in Puppy Essentials specifically on prevention of resource guarding. But to give you just a general overview, you want to just make sure that you're supervising very closely, and that when you have an older dog and a puppy, you're not allowing the puppy to be bothering or getting in the older dog's space in times when that dog is eating or chewing on a bone or sleeping and having a nap. Separation is going to be extremely important so that the older dog isn't feeling like they have to guard in the first place. And then just teaching your puppy to be a good listener around that other dog. Having a leash and line on, like I mentioned with the last question, so that you can control the puppies around there. But separation is going to be really important to prevent things from happening. And again, there's a series of things that you can do, but that's where I would start.
We were actually just talking about a video that we shot a while ago for a student today that talked about introducing your dog to other dogs. And basically that will apply to this situation where it comes about separation and you slowly introduce the dogs to those situations, not necessarily to the other dogs.
Lots of links if you're going to show that one. It's actually one from quite a while ago when Beeline is a puppy and Grand Slam's in the video. I can't remember the name of it. Actually, Robbie might know what it is because she just shared it today. So.
When it comes to the 9 rules that will completely change your puppy training, you need to say what you mean and mean what you say, number 1. Number 2, put your dog in situations where they're going to make good choices. Number 3, management tools are important. Take advantage of them. That's going to change your dog training. Number 4, don't give your dog food for no good reason. Make your dog do something for those rewards. Number 5, natural training opportunities. You're missing them. Yeah, you're missing them right now. Take advantage of them because those are a really great way to blend real life and training. Control the resources. You know, this is a superpower that you have. You bought the stuff. You have the opportunity to give it to your dog or take it away if, there's something going on that doesn't really feel right or doesn't, your dog's making really bad choices. They don't get access to whatever, like a bully stick or something like that.
But remember, eventually they will.
Yeah, that's
it's not a forever thing.
Right.
It's just while they're learning thing.
Yeah. Make your dog earn opportunities. So your dog needs to earn the opportunity to get up on the bed, to get up on the couch, to do these things that you're definitely working toward, but you don't want to just freely allow it. Don't wait too long to redirect. Timing is so important. We talk about this in all of our dog training exercises. It's really important. And it's important to spend quality time when you're training. It isn't about the quantity of time that your dog just wanders around the kitchen. That's not what having a dog is about. It's about engaging and being with them and doing stuff with them. And that's exactly what's going to give you the opportunity to get off leash sooner, to get out into the real world. We all have this idea of the dog we want to have. We want to be able to go to the park on a nice summer day. We want to be able to, go and maybe visit friends, and our dog, they'll be like, wow, your dog is so well behaved. Like, that's a smart dog. When you and I know you're the smart one. You're the one making great choices
You
for them.
worked your butt off to get there.
Totally. And that's what quality time will do. Is there anything that you wanted to mention?
I just wanted to remind everybody about the discount on the puppy tugs. If you guys are looking for a great toy for doing restraint recalls or, response to name training, they're really, really great. And then also Lexi dropped that discount for Puppy Essentials or Life Skills if you did want to register and join the program.
Very cool. We need to thank these guys.
Oh, we sure do. We definitely can't do this without our moderators. They were very busy tonight answering questions. You guys had some awesome questions. Thanks to Lexi, Shandy, and Robbie tonight. And of course, as always, lots of links, Luton, dropping the knowledge.
Absolutely. Now, I think what's really important here is that with all of the training, all of the talking, all of the things that we've shown you tonight, the rest, my friends, well, that's up to you.
We do these live streams to educate you, but more importantly, to motivate you. You can have the dog that you've always wanted, but it's just going to take you a little bit of work.
I would know, because I was just like you. Long before I became a dog trainer, I was a frustrated dog owner, but the skills that I learned at McCann's changed my life. Now, we have hundreds of videos here on our YouTube channel to help you to have a well-behaved four-legged family member.
But if you want someone to guide you through the dog training process, then you should check out our Puppy Essentials program for puppies under 6 months. If your dog is over 6 months, then you could join our Life Skills program, and our instructors are going to help to make sure that everything goes as smoothly as possible in a really supportive environment.
Now, all of the knowledge about dog training in the world won't help you to be successful unless you get up and you start training. The real question is, what are you going to train next?
Happy training.